Gear Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Music Gear Talk. Discover the tech that inspires the pros and powers today's music industry.
Yeah, this is Music Gear Talk, powered by the mighty Enter Talk Radio. Connect to all things music through this wonderful network. My name is Florentino Buenaventura, and I am your host today. And this is a special day because, all days are special because, hey, if you are above ground, it's all good. But this is very special because, we are going to be celebrating coming into the NAMM show coming up here in a few short weeks, and we are bringing on some special guests. We've got a series that's all about the NAMM show, and today we've got Thomas Blug, and he is the owner CEO of BluGuitars. How you doing, Thomas?
Hi, I'm fine. Yeah, great.
Great.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you're calling in from Germany, right?
Right. I'm calling from Saarbrücken, Germany, which is very close to the French border. It's like walking distance, 800 meters, and I'm in France.
Oh, that is awesome, man! You go get some, you could straddle two countries,
and wine,
cheese and wine, and then
right.
Get some great German food. And you could straddle two countries at the same time. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's unique. Yeah.
So you guys are getting ready for NAMM, and obviously,
right.
You've got some great products. Tell us about the company. Tell us about how you started. You telling me a unique story about the fact that your name is similar to your company name and how you were able to get that. So give us a rundown of your company.
Well, BluGuitar is basically my last name, Blug, and a mashup with guitar. So the G is not double; it's the last letter of Blug and guitar, and that's basically all I'm doing. I'm a professional guitar player for all my life. I started when I was a teenager, as usual, with 11 or something. And then by the age of 17, I became a professional musician in the studio scene. So I played on many German, some strange things, but also a lot of pop things. And my biggest concert was with a German girl act I was in, and we were opening up for Michael Jackson back in the days, which was in the 1997.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we did the 120,000 people arenas. So this band in Germany was mega successful. But this was, me and being the musician. On the other hand, my second hobby as a teenager, besides playing the guitar, was fiddling around with electronics. And I'm also have been doing this ever since. My first attempts of building amplifiers were kind of, jokes today. But, over the last 30 years, I was involved as a freelance guy with other companies, like a German manufacturer called Kettner. And with them, I was kind of the key designer for their main products. And even my heroes today, like as a guitar player, Jeff Beck, you probably know, is one of my heroes. And Billy Gibbons. They all play the Rotosphere. That's a Leslie simulator with tubes, which I've designed back in the days with Kettner. And I made a lot of concepts for them since I was always the guitar player that knew what people wanted. And no,
that is awesome. In fact, I'm a bass player myself, so I've had the blessing to play through some backline Hughes Kettner stuff. So it's
right.
It's great gear. So kudos to you, man.
Yeah. So actually, I was also involved with the bass amps together with another guy. I would say I'm a okay bass player, but to be a bass player is also a mindset.
Yeah.
To be a guitar player means you are the guy on front of the stage. The bass players usually keep the band together, which is a very important job. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. It's definitely, I don't, baseball here, I always call it like the catcher. I don't know if you know
I know what you mean.
Because no one ever gives the glory to the catcher, but he's the one who's telling, hey, to the pitcher, you need to do this with this batter, and he's directing the outfield. But so I will gladly take that honor as bass player as the guy who kind of keeps it all together.
Absolutely. Hey man, and it takes all the elements to make something great. I mean, all the best bands, all the best companies, it's a team. It's never, I mean, of course, Jimi Hendrix was exceptional, but even without the right band, Jimi Hendrix was just a guitar player. And you have to create a tension against the band and whatever. But back to my company. It's I'm still touring myself with my own projects. Like on the last weekend, I was playing my Blug Hendrix program with talking about a bass player. I have an American guy in my band, is Reggie Worthy, and he's the original bass player from Ike and Tina Turner.
Oh,
so
wow.
So Nutbush City Limits, that was him.
Okay.
And he kind of ended up in Germany, and he ended up in my band.
That's very cool. What kind? Kind of getting a little off topic with the band, but what kind of music do you do?
Well, me personally, I'm kind of a bluesy classic rock player, and in the business, I worked a lot with pop music bands too. I was writing music for television and advertising, and so movie scoring. But for my own style, I would say I'm a melodic player. Generally between Carlos Santana, Satriani, but with my Jeff Beckish, with my own approach a little bit.
Definitely. I've got a good friend that we've had on the network a couple of times. They're German. There was a German band, but now it's just a single artist. Kurt Malou from Double. Are you familiar with those guys?
Okay. Yeah, I know, but not too familiar. But
they had a hit. They had a really big hit that's kind of a classic from the '80s, and he's in Belgium, so he's nowhere near you. But so there's exceptionally talented folks coming out of that area and great music. So
sure, yeah. One more thing about the music here is. In my band, in my Thomas Blug band, which is another instrumental project, I had 10 years I was playing with Thijs van Leer, the original keyboard player and flute player and singer from the band Focus from the Netherlands.
Oh yeah, okay.
Where, Hocus Pocus was a big hit in the 70s, and we have some weird people here. But I have to admit, I'm very much impressed about the music scene in the US and in the UK. And I mean, today everything is kind of global anyhow.
Yeah, it is. Well, the internet's kind of leveled the distribution playing field quite a bit. You don't have to try to get some company to carry your product and put it in a store here and there anymore. You obviously can get it out pretty much within a matter of an hour or so. You make it, you can put it up and have it distributed worldwide. So that's definitely a huge thing, and and the tools to make that are huge. So you've had this man. It's fun. It's fun, when in these types of interviews, you really get to learn about the people and kind of the history. The product. The product's amazing, but then you start to figure out where the passion, where the heart comes from. So you've been able to channel this artistic element into your your design. So you were the Hughes Kettner. Now you're doing your own thing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, see, I have a huge collection of vintage amps and modern amps, and I always had a great excuse to buy anything that sounds good to my ears, because being a sound designer for 30 years, it's like I go to a music store, and when I find a good amp, I just buy it, or a pedal or a guitar or whatever, over the years, I found out. That the reality for the working musician is different today. I mean, I love those great old tube amps. I have a huge collection of Marshall, Fender, Voxes, and you name it. But these things, they get heavy and they have their sweet spot, which is great in the studio, but still things in the studio change. You use a lot of computer and software and whatnot. But I wanted to have something that really makes sense for my life. And my life is being on stage now. Doing my own music means I have to carry my stuff myself. Back in the days, I had backliners, and roadies, and just complain about the food when you're on tour. Today it's like, okay, I have a convertible Audi car, and I want to have a rig that fits in the car that I can enjoy traveling with. So
Marshall Stack wouldn't quite work in that environment, I would imagine.
Totally right. So I still have this Marshall full stack at home and in my studio, but I found out I haven't used it for 10 years, So my dream was to have that sound and all the qualities, even the volume of the full stack Marshall, and have this in a format that I can use on stage in little clubs, on big arena stages, which I still play sometimes, or even in small venues, even at home or for recording. And I ended up to design my BluGuitar Amp 1, my first amp, which is all analog with nanotube. Nanotube is a sub-miniature tube. So I captured the tube sound and reduced the weight to like 2 pounds, 1.2 kilograms. It's like nothing. And the pedal, the amp is in a pedal format. So most people go and don't believe it. It's like, what, that's your amp? And I thought, yes, it's amp. It says amp 1. And it's 100 watts.
Wow.
It's a 4-channel amp. It has all the features that I was used with my 13-tubed Houston Kettner amp, which I also designed, a Triamp. So this replaced my, beloved all-tube amp. And by now, I personally played, 250 gigs with it. And you cannot tell a difference either in feel nor sound. And I have some celebrity users like Jennifer Batten, who used to play with Michael Jackson, and Jeff Beck, Jennifer, and Uli John Roth, who was the first solo guitar player in the Scorpions, and he's known to be the loudest player still alive. And he's using my amp as well. But everything on 10, like the clean channel on 10, and he does the Jimi Hendrix thing still, and that's another aspect of my amp. And Ian from Saga is using my amp. All these people like my product, my Amp 1, for different reasons. But I'm so happy to make these players happy in their new reality, which means we all do flying gigs, and we cannot afford to have a delicate, sensitive tube amp flying around. You never know, and if you have rented backline, you never know what you're getting. You might end up with some amp you don't like at all. And with my amp, you just put it in your gig bag and travel with it like with your guitar. And
this thing's amazing. I'm looking at it right now. It has everything. Obviously, your standard stuff. You've got 2 overdrive channels, which is awesome.
Actually, I have 3 overdrive channels. It's like a 4-channel amp. It's clean. Plus, it has a vintage channel, which is kind of GTM 45 Marshall, which is my personal preference amp, since it has this Eric Clapton kind of. Wait a minute, somebody's code.
Hey, Thomas, I'm going to interrupt you here for a second because we are about ready. We are about ready to go into a commercial. So stay tuned. This is the Music Gear Talk radio show powered by EnterTalk Radio. We'll be right back in a few short minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Welcome to Music Gear Talk. Discover the tech that inspires the pros and powers today's music industry.
All right, we are back. This is the Music Gear Talk radio show powered by the Intertalk Radio Network. My name is Florentino, and before we get started back into this interview, need to give a shout out to our sponsors, Pitbull Audio. Those guys over there really know how to make it happen. In fact, they are the leader when it comes down to guitar gear. They're just killing it over there at Pitbull Audio, pitbullaudio.com. You can just go on there and check out the website. Or if you're in National City, go down to National City's address. You can check that out as well. They have a great showroom over there. And, of course, our good friends over at SIR. SIR is the leader in backline and touring gear. Anybody who's went on tour here in this country at some point has used SIR, and we're proud to have them on board. And, our good friends at Sapien Cymbals. They are an amazing company creating, carrying on this legacy, 400-year legacy of creating cymbals that is just beyond compare. And today we are with BluGuitar. BluGuitar is run and owned by Thomas Blug, and Thomas is here talking to us. Hello, Thomas. You back with us?
Hello, I'm back. Yeah.
All right, very cool. So we were just leaving off at your amp one, and I was kind of going over some of the specs with you and stuff like that.
Right.
And this is, like you said, this is amazing. You're bringing a 100-watt amp, tube amp for that.
Tube amp.
Tube amp for that matter. And you put that in the side pocket of your guitar gear bag, and you basically plug that into either I would imagine you plug in that into your front of house, or you maybe have some type of cab there.
You can fire up a Marshall full stack with it. I mean, that's what's Oli John Roth doing, or myself. I use smaller cabinets like 2x12s or 1x12s, but it has the full. I mean, you can A/B it to a classic Marshall head, and you're not missing anything. This was my goal, and I get a lot of feedback from, Jude Gold. He's a professional player. He's also the editor, or one of the editors from Guitar Player magazine. And he's playing one, with Jeff and Al playing, the guy from Saga firing up his 4x12 cabinets with it. It just does the job of a regular, great tube head. That's what it does, and it's this it has some features like it's 4 channels. So I kind of divided the world into clean. Everybody needs clean. If you play country, if you play blues, if you play metal, everybody needs a clean channel.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I have 3 separate channels for like vintage, which is my personal style, which is an old Marshall TJM 45, which is in between a Fender Bassman and the very early Marshall amps, a very vintagey sounding amp. Then my second overdrive channel is called Classic, which is like the typical GCM 800. I'm a Rockstar, AC/DC, and more guy channel. And then there's a modern channel, the third overdrive channel, which gives you like a Mesa, Angle, boutique suite, and metal tone as well. So each of these channels has some custom control, I call them, on the side of the amp. So you can actually dial in your personal tone for that, for each channel. So makes amp 1 your personal amp. And then you see on the front panel the standard controls, which is easy to access even in a live situation on stage. You dial in if you want more treble or volume or reverb or gain or whatever. So I was thinking about a layout that is giggable, and it has a lot of features that come in handy for the pros and the amateurs, but for the pros maybe even more. It has universal power, so you can plug in anywhere in the world, and you have your tone with you. You have separate speaker outputs. You have a direct output for headphones or mixing console, effects loop. I thought of basically everything.
I give it to you, man. This is, like I said, I was, to look at it and then hear you talk about it, it's a whole different other thing, and it's amazing. I encourage everybody to go to BluGuitar.com and look at this. And then you've got a demo video there, so you can get a chance to, people can get a chance to hear it. But obviously, you're going to be showing this at NAMM this year, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We have our own booth, which is 3936. And I'm doing demos also there, like 3 times a day. I'm always on the odd numbers, 11 in the morning, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. At NAMM we are not making too much noise, so I have a headphone demo system there, which is using our speaker emulation. So this is how to... So you can hear how Amp 1 sounds straight into headphones, into cans. Yeah.
Now, I got a question for you. And I maybe you addressed it, and maybe I missed it, but on the tube, is that a preamp, or is that actually powering the amplification?
Yeah. Well, this is in the power amp section, but it is a sub miniature tube. It's a Russian military spec sub-miniature tube, which is working kind of a face splitters driver's stage in the power amp section, because maybe you know it as a bass player, you can have all the gain and frequencies, but if there is no punch from your power amp, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't work in the band context, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and so I kind of started Amp 1 with a new design of power amp, which is using the tube and Class D and some analog stuff mixed all together to recreate, well, the feel and the sound of a real tube amp. Like, and you can A/B it. I have a system where I can switch A/B from this amp to another amp, and you don't hear the difference. It's those days are over. I don't need the big glass bulbs in my heads anymore. It's amazing. I'm shocked myself.
Well, hey, my question for you on that end as a bass player is, where's the bass amp, man?
I see. Yeah, I see the point. It actually sounds pretty good for bass, but it doesn't have enough power for bass. If you play bass, you should have at least 3 times the wattage, like 300 watts.
Yeah.
And I'm BluGuitar. I do guitars, bass in my next life.
No, I would imagine that would come. Although Cedric, my engineer here, is a guitar player, and he's been scouring your site here, looking at all the different features of it. I think he's salivating. Are you salivating, Cedric? He's like, wow. He's shaking his head. He's like, man, because he was bringing a Marshall cab and a head for there for a while. So maybe he only has to bring the cab now if he picks up one of your pieces of gear. So
absolutely, and there's another thing. I also thought about how I can make this little box more versatile or meet every personal demand. So, there's a little foot switch socket. You can use a regular foot switch, or you can use my remote one pedal, or you have a MIDI adapter. So this amp one can be used in very different ways. So it looks like simple, but it can be simple. I have some blues players playing it just like it is, but you can kind of scale it as a system to make it all programmable. And I'm doing this for 30 years, so I put like my whole life into this little box.
Yeah. No, this is awesome. And like you said, you've got the remote, and you've got another product too, the Blue Box. Tell us a bit about that one.
Well, if it comes to speaker emulation, I mean, first of all, I also have cabinets. Okay, my cabinets are small as can be, but with big tone as can be. So that's the thing about the real cabinets. And when it comes to speaker emulation, today many people use like in-ear systems. They're not allowed to
Thomas, I would hate to interrupt you, man. This has gone too fast. We've been talking for a half an hour, man. It seems like 5 minutes. I've got the blinking light here telling me that we're going to be finishing up our interview. I would like to bring you back to talk more about it. We need to get you on. I apologize. You got so many other cool products. I encourage everybody to go to their booth at NAMM and go to their website, BluGuitar, BluGuitar.com, and check this out. When you're there, talk to Thomas, have him demonstrate this. I appreciate your time here, and
my pleasure.
Is there Facebook or anything that they can kind of also take a look at?
Absolutely, Facebook. BluGuitar on Facebook, and you can also check out my Thomas Blug on Facebook, my musician site.
Yeah. Well, hey, folks, thank you for tuning in. We've got another episode coming up very shortly, so stay tuned.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on InterTalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name